This week, one gamer was forced to eat bull genitalia because of a Blizzard game. What? Hey folks, this is Riker with a gaming news wrap-up video where we discuss the happenings of the week. This week's topics include Halo making a big splash on Steam, how an unfortunate comment 1 year ago is forcing one gamer to eat his words, and some other stuff. A roundup of action RPG news and more. As always, timestamps can be found in the video description below, but right before you skip ahead, just a quick reminder to ring that sub notification bell to be alerted to new Saturday episodes and stay up to date with gaming news highlights. In our first story, Halo the Master Chief Collection launched on PC on Steam this week. Available on Steam now for $40, the Master Chief Collection first debuted on Xbox back in 2014. The collection includes Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary, Halo 2 Anniversary, Halo 3, Halo 3 ODST, Halo 4, and Halo Reach. And as of right now, only Halo Reach is available on PC, the others will be releasing in waves. Within 1 hour of launch, Halo Reach on Steam saw 100,000 concurrent players, and in 2 days it sold more than 2 million copies. And Halo fans have even more to look forward to. A live-action TV series will be coming to Showcase. The 10-episode series began filming in fall of 2019. In other quick news, a conclusion to a ongoing story thread in these news videos for months and potentially over a year. Red Dead Redemption 2 has finally now released on PC after we'd previously covered rumors and leaks of a PC port. Now on to a human interest story. Over a year ago, Nate from the Blizzard Guides YouTube channel made a post on Reddit in response to some discussion about rumors regarding Overwatch 2 and its alleged reveal at BlizzCon 2019. In his post, Nate stated, quote, "There's zero reason for Blizzard to make Overwatch 2. If you end up being correct about Overwatch 2 being revealed at BlizzCon 2019, I'll eat a cow." Not even kidding. Well, BlizzCon 2019 came and went, and Overwatch 2 was indeed revealed, and one Redditor remembered Nate's promise from over a year ago. Collectively, the subreddit pressured Nate into fulfilling his promise, and so Nate delivered on his promise and released a YouTube video in which he made his best attempt at consuming a cow's, let's say it rhymes with Nick and Paul's. I'll link the video in the description below if you want to check it out. It's not at all as graphic as it seems. On to action RPG news, starting with Path of Exile. A dev update explains how in the upcoming Conqueror of the Atlas expansion, they've gone ahead and rebalanced many campaign bosses to make them more challenging. This has overall been well received by the player base, however some concerns have arisen about the rebalancing of an early game boss, Brutus, whom many new players allegedly don't even get past. The concern here is whether Brutus will now become an even stronger player filter, especially given that Brutus isn't even a strong example of the difficulty to expect thereafter, because the next couple of bosses are actually relatively easier than him. In other Path of Exile news, a community event will be taking place in December. A joint effort between GGG and streamer/escape room expert Zizarin. The Awakener Kill event will be a boss killing event for solo self-found hardcore, with a total prize pool of $30,000 and over $20,000 in cosmetic rewards to give away. For more details and to know how to participate, check out the link in the video description below. And lastly, in Path of Exile news, throughout December, January, and February, if you are a Twitch Prime subscriber, which you can be by being an Amazon Prime subscriber and linking that to your Twitch account, and then linking your Twitch account to your Path of Exile account, you can access exclusive cosmetic rewards. There'll be one for each of the 3 months, and even just signing up for the 1 month free trial can get you one of the month's rewards. You can then cancel before getting charged anything after the free trial. Onto some Lost Ark news. A big update patch has hit the Russian and Korean servers this week, and rumors are once again heating up about a Western release being on the horizon thanks to some new job postings that specifically require English language speakers. Lost Ark YouTuber Siwo has made a video addressing "Is this game for you?", in which he covers 5 common complaints about the game. I'll drop a link to that video in the description below, but I'll quickly summarize 3 of the points that I feel are most important. The first is that there is a real money shop with some questionable items. Siwo stresses that the game is not pay to win, although a lot of comments do say that it is pay to speed up progress. He states that nothing that you can purchase will affect PvP, and on the PvE side of things, you can make purchases that will speed up your progress, but the intent is not to be able to supersede progress that you can otherwise make, but rather just to give some catch-up mechanic to people who can't play for 7 hours a day. In other words, you can pay to keep up with the people who play 7 hours a day, but you can't pay to supersede them. Personally, I would still think that's an issue for a game that I want to take seriously. For example, I play a mobile game that has pay to speed up progress, and because of that, I would never consider playing that game competitively or seriously. I would certainly see myself having a hard time devoting 7 hours a day to playing a game when I know that someone could just spend a couple dollars and keep up with me. Another point he brought up is that your progress is gated in different ways. The first main gate is item level. Your gear will collectively give you some form of item level, and the higher your item level, then the more dungeons you'll have access to, the more raids you'll have access to. There are also certain maps or areas that you cannot reach without having attained a minimum item level. He does stress that it's not difficult to meet those item level requirements. And on a personal note, this is also something that I dislike, but I wouldn't say it's a deal breaker for me. I much prefer to have personal freedom. I'd rather an area just be too difficult for me. Maybe it'll notify me, this is your recommended item level, and allow me to make the choice to enter the area and be destroyed by the difficulty or not enter it, rather than be absolutely blocked from entering the area. The other gate that exists is daily cooldowns for PvE activities. For instance, you can do 3 to 4 raids per day and 3 to 4 dungeons per day. He stresses that this is normal in pretty much all MMORPGs these days. However, as someone who is approaching this game from an aRPG background and wanting aRPG elements out of it, this is something that I very much dislike. I could understand only getting the reward for doing an activity X number of times per day, but to be blocked out from the activity altogether doesn't sit as well with me. Then the last point I want to highlight is that he mentioned that a lot of people feel that PvP is unbalanced, and he personally disagrees and believes that once you learn how to PvP, once you get good, then you'll find that it's actually a great experience. This is sort of a he says, she says situation, but at the very least, this is suggestive that PvP is only fun for those who are good at PvP. You'd think that should go without saying, but it does feel like in other PvP games, even if you are a bad player, you can get grouped with other bad players and still have a good time. Onto some Wolcen news. This upcoming aRPG will be releasing on the 30th of January. The devs have detailed the differences between the game as it is now and what to expect on launch. Here are certain highlights. We'll have 3 acts instead of 1, max level 90 instead of max level 20, 40 different skills instead of 20 different skills, 21 classes in the passive skill system rather than only 9, finally a playable female character, 4 apocalyptic forms. This is a feature that I've been very much looking forward to. And the final release price will be $45. I've covered this game several times over the past few years. You can check out my latest video talking about it over here. In other news, action RPG Darksiders Genesis released on December 5th. It's getting very positive reviews on Steam, has a 77% rating on Metacritic from the reviewer scores and a 7.7 user score. I'll likely be playing this game soon, and I'll be able to give my thoughts when I do. Lastly, onto Diablo news. This week, lead Diablo 4 system designer David Kim released a part 2 to his blog post in which he discussed some changes that they're going to be making to itemization in response to player feedback. We have a full video covering this topic over here in case you haven't seen it, but 2 major takeaway points include, number 1, a endgame, very endgame type of item will drop that will contain on it a legendary affix. You'll be able to apply that to a non-legendary item. This will effectively introduce a tier of gear above legendaries that will be super upgraded rares. So this looks like for average players, you can just go up to legendary and be content there. But for players looking for a lot more depth, then you can get into the whole aspect of finding the perfect rares with the perfect stats and then applying the correct legendary affix to them to effectively craft your own legendaries. The other new system they're toying with is the introduction of 3 new affixes: Angelic Power, Demonic Power, and Ancestral Power. Each of these does its own thing, providing you some benefit, but also certain affixes will roll on gear, and in order to benefit from that affix, you need a certain threshold of, say, angelic power or demonic power, etc. This is similar to a stat requirement system, for instance, needing X strength to equip a piece of armor, except it still allows you to equip the piece, just not fully benefit from it. This allows for more interesting gearing and itemization, because now you'll want to determine, okay, which affix on this am I okay with not having? Which affixes do I really want to unlock? And how do I rebalance my gear in order to meet those thresholds of demonic power in order to get the properties that I want? Then lastly, in case you missed it over the weekend, I released a video with some pretty conclusive proof that the pale man in the Diablo 4 cinematic is Rathma. For full details on why, you can check out that video, but this supports the theory that perhaps Lilith may not end up being the true villain of Diablo 4. Lilith created Sanctuary, she created humanity, and she has attempted to protect both before in the past. Rathma is fully concerned with maintaining the balance between good and evil, and so if he's bringing Lilith back to Sanctuary, that's likely in an effort to maintain that balance. We do know that the great evils are once again loose upon Sanctuary, regaining their power, so potentially he's bringing her back to help tackle those great evils now that Heaven's doors are closed to Sanctuary. Now, of course, we can still have Lilith be a villain and working against the other great evils. It could be a sort of the enemy of my enemy situation. And it does seem awfully dark to have to pick not between good and evil, but between which is the lesser of these two evils. And that's going to wrap up this week's video. But do be sure to have checked out last week's video, in which we discuss the aggressive stance that Blizzard is now taking towards Diablo 3 cheaters. Thanks for watching. Special thanks to my Twitch, Patreon, and YouTube supporters for making these videos possible. If you like what you see on this channel and want to support the creation of more content, you can consider pledging on YouTube or Patreon and unlocking behind-the-scenes content, monthly virtual hangouts, and more. If you enjoyed this video, please share it, check out these other videos, and subscribe to join Riker's Raiders for more gaming content.